The wind howled through the desolate streets as I stumbled upon the old, decaying mansion. Its presence was foreboding, a looming darkness that beckoned me closer. My footsteps echoed ominously in the silence, and a shiver ran down my spine. What had drawn me to this place, I couldn't say, but the compulsion to enter was undeniable. The grand, double doors creaked open with an eerie groan, and I cautiously stepped into the dimly lit foyer. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of age and decay. A flicker of movement caught my eye, and I turned to see the portrait of a man on the wall. His eyes seemed to follow me, a malevolent glint in his gaze. I tried to shake off the feeling of being watched and moved deeper into the mansion. The hallway stretched out before me, lined with more portraits, each one more menacing than the last. They all seemed to leer at me, their eyes filled with malice. As I ventured further into the mansion, the air grew colder, and I heard faint whispers in the distance. The whispers turned into murmurs, and the murmurs into full-blown voices. They seemed to be coming from all around me, an incessant chorus of sinister laughter and eerie incantations. My heart raced as I followed the voices, desperately trying to find their source. I came upon a door, half ajar, and cautiously pushed it open. The room beyond was bathed in an otherworldly light, and in the center of the room stood an ornate mirror. Its surface rippled as if it were a pool of water, and I couldn't tear my eyes away from it. In the mirror's depths, I saw a reflection that was not my own. It was a twisted, nightmarish version of myself, with hollow eyes and a sinister grin. It beckoned me closer, and against my better judgment, I stepped toward the mirror. As I reached out to touch the surface, the reflection pulled me in, and I was plunged into a world of darkness and terror. I found myself in a labyrinthine maze of corridors and rooms, each more terrifying than the last. The walls seemed to pulse and throb, and strange, nightmarish creatures lurked in the shadows. I stumbled through this nightmare, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The voices from before echoed in my ears, taunting me, and the faces in the portraits seemed to materialize in the walls, their eyes burning with hatred. I couldn't escape, and I couldn't find a way out. Time lost all meaning in that nightmarish realm. I felt as if I had been trapped there for an eternity, tormented by the horrors that lurked around every corner. I was no longer sure if I was even alive, or if I had become one of the grotesque creatures that now pursued me. Then, I saw it. A door, hidden in the darkness. It was my only chance, my only hope of escaping this living nightmare. I ran toward it, my heart pounding in my chest. But as I reached for the handle, I hesitated. What if the door led me deeper into the madness? What if there was no escape? The voices grew louder, the laughter more deranged, and I knew I had no choice. I flung the door open and stepped through, praying that it would lead me back to the real world. I found myself back in the mansion's foyer, gasping for breath. The oppressive silence had returned, and the portraits on the walls were once again mere paintings. The malevolent presence that had drawn me into this nightmare seemed to have retreated, at least for the moment. I stumbled out of the mansion, my mind reeling from the horrors I had witnessed. As I looked back at the decaying mansion one last time, I couldn't help but wonder if it had all been a figment of my imagination. But the sense of dread that clung to me like a second skin told me otherwise. The mansion held secrets and horrors that no one should ever have to experience. I walked away from that place, vowing never to return, and hoping that the nightmares that haunted me would eventually fade. But deep down, I knew that the mansion would always be there, lurking in the shadows, waiting to ensnare anyone who dared to enter its twisted, malevolent embrace. To uncover more spine-chilling horror tales, venture into the darkness by clicking the I button tucked away in the enigmatic top right corner.